Perfect.
Yeah, that was your
Yeah,
walk-up
my
music.
little playing intro music.
Yes, we're going unplugged tonight.
How do you balance confidence with ego? That's the question for the night from Brian. Hey, Brian. Yeah, unplugged tonight because my wife had surgery and they broke her jaw in 3 places, and it's unreal.
Well, you said that to me when I got here. I mean, I knew she was having surgery. And then I thought, well, you know what the crazy thing is? Is that's just a day in the life for that surgeon. Like, what'd you do today? Oh, I broke somebody's jaw in 3 places. You know, they just go home and...
Right. I mean,
you know.
So the surgery was yesterday, and then today she came home, and it's craziness. It's absolute craziness. But, and today's 9/11, too.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, the other thing. Where were you?
I was at work. Highmark. In a conference room, in a boardroom. And there weren't TVs in there. I think there were TVs in the cafeteria, maybe. And it started out with, hey, a plane hit the World Trade Center. And it started out with people thinking, oh, well, some, like, Piper Cub or something. You know, and then it just, as the day went on, it just became more and more known as to what actually happened.
Right. A similar story, I think. I mean, I was teaching, so in 3rd year teaching, I was teaching in, we were remodeling, we were renovating, so I was out like in a trailer, and this kid knocks on the door, hands me a letter to read to my class. You know, that had never happened before, but it's a 3rd year teaching, so who knows. I open it up, and the letter says that the Sears Towers had just been attacked, and planes had run into the Sears. They had like it all wrong. There was one TV in the whole building. It was like an old TV studio. An English teacher had it. It was like this big, black and white. Everybody all day going to that room just to watch it. Yeah, so. Anyway, those of you watching, where were you, I guess?
Yeah.
So, one thing.
He's got a knife.
I'm not ignoring your question, Brian. I'm just not sure how to.
Yeah, I'm marinating on your question, too.
How do you balance confidence versus ego?
No, I don't know that... This is my answer. I don't know that ego would struggle to be positive, like good. An ego, to me, most of the time is in a negative connotation. So if somebody's confident and they come in, you can be confident and play well and do well and still interact well with other people and still be confident. If there's an ego issue, I don't think that lends for a collaborative type environment. When I think about a musician, I'm thinking again through the lens of a musician that like someone comes with. I'd rather someone come in with confidence that's good and can collaborate and work. I don't really want someone coming in with an ego. I mean, I just.
So, on with what you're saying, there was a lot of like the pro blues touring acts would come through. There was a bar in Hanover called Klingers, and they had another place in Edders. And so a lot of these guys would flow through there, and you'd go watch them, and there's confident dudes, right? You know, playing guitar. But 99% of the time, they'd sit down with you, hang out with you on set breaks. Michael, excuse me. A great example is Michael Burks. If you're not familiar with Michael Burks, look Michael Burks up. He was touring all over the place, and he would come to Klingers pretty frequently. And he had this guy named Jonesy that played Hammond organ and brought an actual B3 Hammond organ with him and a Leslie. You know, me and a Hammond. Mm-hmm. And those guys, if they were there, we were going to see him, and we would drive a little bit to go see him too. And they became almost like friends. You know, they'd sit down with you. Michael Burks, there's a lineage there. I want to say it's one of the Kings, either Freddie or Albert. I want to say Albert. But there's like a lineage, like uncle, some kind of lineage, and he grew up with those guys. He's a monster player, and he's a confident player, and he's like just big guy. Nicest dude you ever met. Another guy comes through Klingers, the 1%. I think I've told you this before. Comes through Klingers, he's playing this little Gibson guitar, hollow body, don't know what it is. He's up there tearing it up all night long. I'm thinking this guy's good. I'm about ready to finish my meal, buy 2 CDs, watch the rest of the set. He's taking a set break. He's been out on set break for 15, 20 minutes. It's not like I jumped him or anything. Mm-hmm. He's walking by the table. I hadn't even gotten out of my seat. And I'm just like, hey, man, you sound great tonight. It's a really interesting Gibson. I've never seen that before. What is it? It doesn't matter what I play. You know, kind of. Wait, that's not what I asked you.
Yeah, right.
So I got up and left. I mean, he was a total jerk. I got up and left, didn't buy his CDs. Mm-hmm. So I guess, I mean, maybe that's how you balance confidence with ego. If you have that ego, I agree with you. The ego thing tends to be a little...
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I've ever had the word ego used in a positive connotation. It's usually egotistic, or their ego got in the way, or, you know... so that's just where I, think about.
Do you feel like the musicians, and I mean, we're good, we talk guitar, so it's, do you feel like, I don't know, I feel like, I've never seen a player that has a huge ego that deserved it. Mm. And I've seen a lot of players that have no ego that could.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They have the stuff to back that ego up. But typically the guys that are jerks...
Yeah, I mean, I think back to, again, the connotation of...
Unless you're Buddy Guy. Okay, keep going.
I get it. For Brian's question, which, hey, look, we started a conversation. This is what we talked about before we started this channel. Like, to me, someone with an ego is going to want to take a solo. They're going to want to step in. They're going to, like, maybe even move forward. I knew this one guy played in a band where the guy stepped forward and it tripped a light that shined up on him, So I think a guy that has an ego is going to want to look for that solo. I'm going to take that solo. And a guy that's confident, like, you give them a solo, and they're going to tear it up. Like you said, they're going to tear it up. They're confident they can deliver, but because they're confident, I don't think they have to show what they can do. I had a friend say to me one time, if you ever meet somebody and, like, the first thing they do is give you their verbal resume, run. Like, just... Because most people just, like... If you're confident in what you do, you don't really have to talk about it. You just do it. You just let your actions show. You let your abilities show. I don't know.
Hey, Ben Combs in the house. Hey, Ben.
We were just getting deep and philosophical.
Yeah. I know that. I've had a long couple days. I'm sure Pat has too. So we're kind of about, I imagine, I know I am, like, totally burnt. I imagine you're pretty close.
And we get asked a philosophical question.
Yeah.
That's good.
Do you know who I'm thinking about? Chris Delaporte and I were talking about this, and I think you would agree. Mike Morrison, I think, perfect example. Mm-hmm. Nicest guy you ever meet. Will help you. Always complimentary. Always is trying to build you up. Mm-hmm. Like some of the things he said about my playing in the past, I was kind of like, yeah, right. I mean, but always there to, like, build people up. And he has the chops to... Right. So the Mike Morrison videos that we did over at his house with the guitar, and he did the acoustic one, the electric one are out. Guy that has the chops, guy that is considered one of the, the go-to players in the area. Right. And there is not 1 ounce of ego, like, in that guy. So that Buddy Guy is a different story. See, I always say, like, there's so many good guitar players out there. There's so many guitar players out there that are better than other guitar. Like, every time you find somebody, there's somebody better. Mm-hmm. So I always say, if you're a jerk, I don't have time for you because there's like 8 other guys I'd rather listen to that aren't jerks. Mm-hmm. So I almost don't ever want to meet Buddy Guy.
Yeah, I mean, I've had the pleasure of meeting and having brief encounters with several of my musical idols, and none of them have let me down. I mean, I've had a very brief conversation with Eric Johnson when he had the flu. Like, he was on the bus. I loved his playing. He was sick, and he was still nice, and then played like you wouldn't have known. Right. Chatted with Larry Carlton very briefly right before he went on stage in New York City one time. He was kind. Ran into Tommy Emmanuel at NAMM, who was trying to figure out where he was going, and stopped and had, So I haven't had that moment of like, oh crap, why do I like this person? Because I don't like them anymore. Right. You know what I mean? So.
I mean, same.
And these were all very brief encounters, right? These weren't like we're sitting down in the living room or whatever, but they were kind and in moments when they didn't have to be.
Same. So off topic.
Yeah, you have a knife.
I do have a knife. When we were talking about clingers a while ago, all these kind of national blues acts that were going by. Joking with you the other night, I'm going to build a better wife, this surgery my wife was having, whatever, and that Pat Ramsey song. Yeah. And when I sent it to you, I said, check out the guitar player because he floored Gary Harrington and I with 1 note. So, just prayers out to, I guess, Gary Harrington, who apparently is in the hospital right now, and he's an old local blues guy. So him and I are sitting at Klinger's watching Pat Ramsey's band. Pat Ramsey's a harmonica player. I don't remember the name of the guitar player, and I probably should. The guy was incredible. Pat Ramsey's standing in front of the mic singing a note, and he's holding the note. Right? So he's just belting this note out. And then he takes 2 steps away from the mic and shuts his mouth. But the note keeps going. And I looked at Gary. He looked at me when that happened. Like, we both saw him step away from the mic, and we both were hearing this note. We both looked at each other like this. Then we looked back at the stage, and this guitar player standing there holding the note with this big, cheesy grin on his face. And Carrie and I both, like, leaped out of this. We're like, woo! Right? Leaped out of the seat like, you're the man! I'm not sure anybody else really caught what was going on, but...
2 knuckles are standing up.
But we're like, way to go, man. It was awesome.
One note. I was waiting to see where the story went, because it reminded me of the While My Guitar Gently Weeps when Prince was playing, and he threw his guitar, and it never came back, and no one ever knows what happened. I thought you were going to say, and we never know what happened. We don't know how he did it.
No, we do.
Some kind of voodoo.
We knew how he did it. It was amazing. I mean, one note, pot 2. I mean...
Regional giants. Oh,
yes. Well, one regional giant anyway. To their feet, just got us out of our chairs on one note. Like, that's... You see those guys like Eric Johnson shredding that stuff, and you're like, whatever, wow, that's
by the time
crazy.
You stand up, 20 more notes have passed.
But when one guy does one note, that's amazing. So what's going on out there, Brian? Ben?
Ben, you missed the question, and I believe he's from the Great White North, correct?
Yes, he's he's the Canuck.
Part of what came up in our intro was, being today was 9/11, the question was, where were you when it happened, and how did that play out in Canada? Like, what was that like, if that's where you were at the time?
Oh, yeah.
While he's cutting something up with a knife. But...
Yeah, this came today.
Oh, wait. I don't know if I know what that is or not. You've sent me so many pictures of things that you're like, should I? That I don't know what you actually did.
Right. I think you'll be very happy, probably.
And you're going to open it. I'll be like, oh, that's right. You told me that.
He'll be happy because Pat is enamored with lights.
Okay. So I'll be happy because I don't have to buy it, too, right? Because you bought it.
I did buy it. But, reverb is amazing. Like, people, whatever about reverb, but if you watch and you find something you want, you put it in your lose list, and you watch how long it's been there and stuff. You send the deal at the right moment, you normally can walk away with a pretty good deal. And I walked away with a pretty good deal. Probably shouldn't have put the knife away, though, apparently.
So whoever the seller was, they get Peter, unnamed... Peter from Asheville, North Carolina, knows how to pack some gear. I think I recognize the shape of the pedal of our newly... I believe it's from the same country that makes Ferraris. Is that true?
Yes. Are we not... Oh, man, we're not scrolling. That's why we're not seeing. Mm-hmm. Oh, no. No, we're not seeing it because nobody's talking.
But we're buffering over there. But we're not buffering over there. That's live? That's the actual YouTube feed?
Yeah, that's the actual...
So maybe that's why.
You cut out on them.
I don't know. We did get some kind of weird notification we've never had before. We just decided to roll with it, but we got your comments after all of that.
What's happening up here? No, it's playing on the computer.
Maybe they just don't want to talk to us.
Maybe Brian, he's at a truck stop in Edmonton, Indiana. Here you go. Ben, I slept through it. Was working nights doing tech support. Go to work and it was hellish. Worked for a U.S. company. Crazy day for sure. Ben, if you heard of these pedals that I cannot open, there we go.
Oh yes, yeah.
So, I don't know if he'll be able to. If you heard of this, Ben,
you can see it. This
is a Fox Gear. This is the Rat's pedal. Mm-hmm. So this is based on the Rat. Ben says the stream is fine there. Good to know.
This is my good side, boys. What do we do with that other one? Do I have it over there still?
Other what?
The other pedal that's from that company. Okay. When it's not lit up, I didn't recognize it. I was looking for a blue pedal.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find a blue pedal because they're not blue.
Let me get some power.
That one doesn't have battery in it?
No.
What about this one?
Stealing the.
Well, it's yours. Mine got stolen by somebody else, so.
I'm stealing them off of the loop over there.
I honestly didn't recognize it because when this is plugged in, it's not black. It is blue.
Yeah, check that out. Check that out, boys.
Is that too close?
Green?
Yeah.
Lights up.
Is that too close to the color of your strap, or your wife won't like it?
Lights up.
Yeah, they have. So the Italians, they're sleek. They're rounded and a little bit lower profile. Super simple, super light.
Did you say is the case plastic?
I don't know about durability, but
it's metal case.
Yeah, it feels like that. Is the top is like maybe plexiglass or?
Yeah, I mean, if you were jumping on them, maybe not.
Well,
I haven't been able to figure out too. I guess what we're seeing is
the pattern in the.
Well, no, that's like if you look at a jack, that's the inside of the jack. So the light must be shining up and making the pattern of the jack.
Okay.
And so if you would look behind this,
okay.
So you're seeing the inside of the part shining through.
Interesting. Summer NAMM, great stuff.
Yeah.
We're working on a Summer NAMM tour next year. It falls during the time where my good friend has got an empty house, and the person next to me has a profession that he doesn't work every day in the summer. So our plan is to get down to Summer NAMM next year.
So we did.
Cool.
Well, and I like the top. Look how top mounted jacks. So you get them nice and close.
Mm-hmm.
We already did the video. The video for the Echoes is out.
Yesterday? Today? What's today? Thursday? Wait, today's Wednesday.
It was out Saturday. Because today was
the JTM.
JTM.
Yeah.
So the Echoes is out. We haven't even plugged this in yet.
He literally unboxed it, which sometimes you can tell when he snaps his finger and the box lid opens that maybe it wasn't a true unboxing, but this apparently was.
Here, check this out.
One screw? What does that show me?
One screw.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
Maybe they don't take batteries.
Oh, that's probably true.
And almost like I wonder if you have to take the jacks off to get them open. Console. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that. Since it's typed, I don't know that I meant it that way, like in a negative point per se, but just like it felt really personal as a U.S. citizen. Like, like it's not that you don't care about your neighbor or whatever. It's just, I don't know. So I hope that when I'm reading that you didn't think that it was minimized in Canada, but just what was it like? I mean, here it was like, is our country going to come to an end? Is our currency going to fail? Like it went all over the place. Matter of fact, I was just joking with somebody about the year 2000 because there was some concert, I think in Central Park, that was going on, and this guy that I met in Georgia yesterday was at the park running a race, and they did the countdown for the new year. And I'm like, well, everybody thought the world was going to end. They thought, computers would stop and, so kind of like that. Like everybody thinks about the worst things that could happen. And so, yeah.
I think, I don't know. Brian has a point in that, they're not maybe as foreign as other... Because I've spent every summer of my life... in Canada. Now, granted, I go across the border, hang a right.
Yeah.
Right, like, well, Ben knows where I'm at. Ben, I'm over at Charleston Lake, so I'm real close to Athens or Brockville or, not too far from Kingston or something like that, which I think you're maybe a little bit west of that. So he knows where I'm at. But I have met in 45 years of spending my world up there. One rude Canadian. Like a year or two ago, 3 years ago, we were up there. And this woman had this big dog off the leash in the town. And my daughter was bit in the face by a dog when she was younger. So she loves dogs. She doesn't like strange dogs. And she doesn't like strange dogs coming up to her. Right. So this huge dog is coming up to her. And she was like, can you put that dog on a leash? And the woman just went berserk. She was telling us to go back to the U.S. and why are we in her country? And I was, my response to this was simply, ma'am, I've probably spent more time on this lake in my lifetime than you have. And oh yeah, right. Whatever. 45 years. I mean, I don't know how long.
Did you show your Maple Leaf tattoo?
Right, how long you come, but I was like, it's amazing to me that you're the first rude Canadian I've ever met. And that telling me to go back to, whatever, No, but you know what I do like? Totally non-Qatar related, but Ben, I love Canada. My wife and I call it Canada time. Everything just moves at a better pace. Like you go into a store and it's like kind of that mom pop feeling, and yeah, we'll do that. Mm-hmm. Like 2 hours later, I don't know. We call it Canada time and we love it. That and poutine. Anyway.
Well, yeah, I was just in Georgia and I was stuck in this line at Panera, and I was getting impatient, and they're Southern, right? So they're just like chill. I'm like, so this must what it feels like to be a New Yorker.
Yeah.
This is how I must make New Yorkers feel,
right,
when I do something.
Right. Yeah, because it's like, man, we stop. Lori makes us stop for poutine every time we go by the chip truck, and there is no hurry. You can tell we don't have a lot of content tonight. We were sitting. I went to Home Depot in Canada to pick something up. The guy comes over and he's helping me, and I'm like, I have the part in the car. Right? He's like, yeah. I said, the car's right outside. I'll run and get it. He goes, okay, I'll wait here. And he did. I can't find a person to help me in a Home Depot in the U.S. This guy waited, and he didn't move. He was standing right where he was when I came back. I was like amazed. It's such a great help too. But anyway,
Routine rules from Ben.
Yes, Ben, help me out. When is poutine always been? We're so far off the. Has poutine always been a big thing? Because I feel like I didn't start noticing signs for poutine to about 2-3 years ago. And now it's like McDonald's has it, Burger King has it. Don't get it from Burger King or McDonald's, but they have it. It's like every restaurant, every chip truck. I don't know.
I've never had it, so.
Do you know what it is?
You've told me, but I don't remember what it is.
It's like French fries with gravy and cheese curd on it.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so what else we got? How about this?
I think we played this one other time. It's a little Breedlove parlor guitar that lives upstairs in this house.
Could use a little bit of a setup. I think it's a piece of glass. Yeah, don't shake it out.
From wine glass?
No, I just dropped the gas and shattered everywhere.
Yeah.
I think it's a piece of glass that I haven't got around to getting out yet.
Yeah, parlor guitar.
Has a little Fishman preamp in it.
Mm-hmm.
Built-in tuner if the battery's not dead. The battery's dead.
I tuned it with the Snark. Strings are a little old, but it does just sit up there.
The action's a little bit high. But it has a nice sound.
I like it. So I'm going to ask a question of Ben, and you're going to be like, will you please stop talking? So Ben does this as well, right? He's got his own channel. So in the effort to be consistent, we're trying to be here tonight. but we've been running a million different directions. We didn't actually record tonight. We're not super centered. And I like the fact that Brian asked the question. So, in the YouTube world, is it more important to be consistent or have valuable content?
Well, I think a little bit of both.
Yeah.
So this was $4.50. It's not bad. I mean, I like it for what it is.
You can actually play it. Plug it in, play it.
Yeah, it's a nice looking guitar too.
So coming up though, I still somewhere over here. I have something.
Went really big 10 to 15 years ago. Yeah, I must have missed the first 5 or 6 years of it.
What?
The 15. You want me to hold this while you do that?
I could drop your guitar. I mean, I'm not going to open it because I'm the... Well, I could tease it because, you know, it's just Ben and Brian. We've talked about it. I mean, you did the JTM.
Right.
And I got, in the last Love Pedal sale... You know, it figures now that I have a little bit of money stashed aside, he's not doing a sale. I have money. I don't have money stashed aside. He does a sale and I spend money. so he really needs to get with it. But
I predict that there's gonna. I thought there'd be one last week.
Right. So I ended up again because it's stinking Sebastian Falvo. I ended up picking up the Tiki Drive. Oh, that camera over there, right? The Tiki Drive, which is basically like it's kind of like a dual overdrive. It's only got one switch. You're not having like feeding into each other, but there's two gain levels and a voice and a tone and a volume. And again, Sebastian, who you see do most of those Love Pedal things, makes you want to buy them all anyway. But I haven't even plugged this in, so this is coming up soon. We try to stagger the Love Pedals so that people don't think that, because it would be a Love Pedal without the endorsement.
Well, you know,
but we only buy during the sale.
Back to your question to Ben. I think a better question might be, how long did he do live shows before? Because he gets a pretty good. Yeah. Every time I've been on your live shows, you have a pretty good group of people there. You know, not only numbers wise, but active people that are commenting and talking to him, which that makes this a lot easier. So if you have 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 people, and people are leaving comments and having a discussion, then that kind of drives what you're doing with the live show. So it's the chicken or the egg, like what comes first, right? So we've been kind of like, well, let's kind of recap what we're doing, what we're going to do. Right. And if we're consistent, maybe we'll get people here. So
he answered.
What's that?
Both, but consistency really helps. People start to expect vids on the same days. I usually keep a couple weeks of videos ready to go in case something keeps me from making them. So we have, as far as in the can, we have things. You always have a few queued up, but just even kind of meant more in the context of this live stream. Like to do a live stream, they know, it's going on at this time every week. So which is why we did it tonight. Plus, we hadn't seen each other for the whole 3 days. So that being said, we're usually on these videos, we're recapping, hey, tonight we shot this and this, and this is coming up, and we really didn't have a real big agenda tonight other than let's get out there and let's do it, let's talk, and let's try to be consistent so people kind of understand that 9:15-ish on Wednesdays.
On Monday, Wednesday.
Yeah, on a day that's announced on
the day of.
Yeah, right. Because again, real lives and wives' surgeries, and my wife is in Atlanta, and we're not. So anyway, but I'm glad you chimed in, Ben. I found out about you through the beard, and I've watched your little your trek to NAMM, and I've watched some of your other videos because of that, and I think Jason said he's jumped in on some of your chats. So it's cool when.
Yeah, they're talking about those Love Pedal sales. So Brian said that's how you got the Zen Drive, and Ben loves that pedal. And Ben, I saw in one of your videos you had the red Zen Drive, and that I think we actually have two of those because we both bought it, and then we had the black one too. And I do like those pedals a lot, but there's a lot of those sales are really worth watching.
Well, then I think my friend Brody finally pulled the trigger on pedals because he's not a pedal guy, but I think he got the red Zen Drive with the white trim.
Okay.
Like there's different.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do, Ben. Thank you for your confirmation. You know,
Sean Pierce Johnson, only 7 people on for a year. He has a pretty good following there, right? So I'm pretty sure I'm following him online.
Yeah, Jason's been a good citizen of YouTube. He's actually engaging other people. It's not a one-way street. Like, he'll go into Ben's, and I think there's another one you've been on before. And
A couple of those guys.
so it's not like just, hey, come to our party. You're going to other people's parties. And
Yeah, well, there's cool stuff happening out there. Ben does a lot of it.
look at that. There you go. There's some kismet.
Well, and so Brian is the one that hooked us up. Because Brian found our videos, left a comment, and was like, hey, you need to go check out Connects with Guitars.
Right.
So I go over there and spent the first kind of week trying to figure out who Connects with Guitars was. Because Ben has a pretty good community happening on his page with a lot of people posted. So there's a lot of people connected to that. Trying to think who some of the other one. Now that I can picture them, but their names aren't popping up. But Brent does like a hangout with a bunch of them, and so I've watched a bunch of their stuff. I saw your guitar. Thank you for walking upstairs and getting it.
Yeah. Gave me something to do while you're upstairs.
Man.
So we're still talking about Yes, we're gonna have that Rats coming up, and we keep sending messages back and forth to each other. Oh, I saw this on Reverb. Saw this on whatchamacallit?
WD-40 on the bottom.
Yeah, that's me too. Not Facebook. Facebook Marketplace, Reverb, and Craigslist. Yeah. So the Craigslist killer. I always joke that like I'm on Facebook Marketplace because there's not a Facebook Marketplace killer.
I had trouble. Somebody posted on Craigslist a reissue Fender Deluxe
Yeah.
for $650 and a Tweed Relict Blues Junior, which is a thing. Like, you can go to Sweetwater and buy the Relic Tweed Blues Junior. He had that for $299, and those two prices were, I don't know if they're still there, but I mean, I had a hard time.
Well, because we have a friend that I saw that same amp twice in about 3 days, and there was a several $100 price difference, and the ones that we normally look at are usually very well priced. Good price. Well priced? Good price? Competitively priced?
Right. And then somebody else I sent you had the Hot Rod, like we use down here, but with like the cool Tolex on it for $300.
The funny thing with us was this whole channel started out because we wanted to hang out. We didn't play together outside of church. We knew each other. What's he saying?
He does one night a week, which is his show, one night a week with guests. And I've been lucky to get some big names. Come on. Yeah, man. Who did I see he had on the other? Oh, my gosh. It's pedal manufacturer. Well, I've seen him with Philip McKnight's been on the show. I've seen the one effects builder was on the show. And the other night he was... what's his name? Ben. Let's see if I can get it before the 30-second lag is up. The guy, he's a session player. He plays live, sits with a bunch of guys. It's not Music Is Win, though.
Is it Pierce? Tim Pierce?
No.
Tyler Larson from Music Is Win is doing a thing with Paul Reed Smith, like a seminar. And it shows he's an artist. I don't think I do an artist version of his guitars, but I don't know.
Who did you have on the other day, Ben? Guy. Oh my gosh, I've watched a ton of his videos. I can't remember. Zach from Mythos was on. Yeah, he's had a bunch of like cool people on lately.
Is this riveting? Is this good?
I feel like it has trouble staying in tune.
Well, the strings are old, and the action is high.
I'm not sure if it's that or I've always felt like it's had a little trouble holding tune. Oh my gosh, that's driving me crazy.
If it were our show and we were doing a video, I'd go like this.
I do it start with an R. Rhett Shaw. Do you know who?
I've heard the name. Yeah. That's cool. When the editing came and I went like this and you made the name pop up.
Trying to help.
He does all the editing. I do nothing. I drag the show. So I was starting to say we started the show because we didn't ever jam together. Except we last song at church after we planned. I don't know how you guys would follow the Lord per se, but like we always joke that like when the pastor's praying at the end of church, unless there's some kind of music under it, God doesn't hear it. So after you get done playing the nice little pad under the prayer, we usually launch into some level of jamming. But that's really all the jamming we ever did, and we could see each other's gear. We never did a lot of super gear talk, and he's like, we should start a YouTube channel. I'm like, no, we really shouldn't. I got enough to do. And then it parlayed into this. Part of what I was even saying that is like because of some of the things I have tried, I like them. So would I buy a Hot Rod Deluxe? I would be interested in one, but then every time I go to do that, I'm like, he has one. And like even when we go to order the log pedals, we don't always totally communicate. But after a while, it's like, don't get that because I was thinking about the rubber chicken and some envelope filters because I don't have one. He's like, I've got like 5 different ones. Don't buy an envelope.
Yeah, don't buy an envelope filter.
So it has morphed into this, like I've played something of his that I like, that I kind of want to buy it, and then I go, well, if I ever wanted it, as long as we're still in good standing, I could just borrow it.
Right.
So
case in point, the board over there has the your DMBL from what's that band? What's that brand? Mojo Ham. So we tried that out down here. There's a video for it. I don't think you were super taken with it. I'm not. And something about it, it's weird because we only did that like one thing down here, but my brain kept going back to it. Now, the odd thing is it's the second drive, so I have the Barber Electronics direct drive on, and then I have this DMBL by Mojo Hand next to it. Mm-hmm. And if I switch to that one, I'm happy. And if I switch to direct drive, I'm happy. So it's that thing where like it's almost become like, can this drive pedal get my tone? Right? Like, not I need a drive pedal to sound like this. I want the drive pedal to sound like me. So I end up, because I had the Red Zen drive over there before that, thinking, well, I'll get this and it'll be a little... it ended up being the same as the Barber. So what I'm wondering, like maybe this should take the place of the DMBL. Like maybe we need... because this isn't going to... I don't think is going to sound like one of our overdrive pedals.
No, I think because the Rat's way more aggressive, usually.
Right.
Yeah, it's funny, too, because... I don't know if you want to catch up on some of that, but it's funny because we are different players. And part of what Brian commented one time was that he just... part of what he likes... a little, if I'm saying this wrong, correct me, but part of what he likes is that we'll take the same pedal, and sometimes we go through every knob, and other times we just say, all right, how would you use this pedal? And for us, it's very different. Delay, he sets his delays one way, I set it differently. I'm a self-proclaimed gainiac. I'm twisting the right knob on the gain, you're twisting the level knob and twisting the gain back down. So there are pedals that we get that sometimes the pedals just like an interesting price point, right? And we're like, okay, I'm going to get that and just see it. It's also an excuse to buy gear, but I hope my wife isn't watching. So that's where the DMBL came. That's the beautiful thing about Reverb. No matter where you are, if you're in one of the big box stores, sorry, it happens, and you're looking in the pre-owned case, you can just whip it up real quick in Reverb and be like, that's a legitimate price or that's not a legitimate price. Even like the stupid deals of the day from Musician's Friend. You can legitimately go and pull that up on Reverb and be like, that's a real sale. That's just not, a fabricated sound. So anyway, here's so much love.
Yeah, he had some other people that he's mentioned. I'd throw a shout out. There's a lot of cool people here. Lawrence Petros. Sorry, I can't get over this cough. He does Lawrence Petros designs, so he has a whole bunch of pedals. Fairly expensive pedals, I think. Because you're talking, and I'm sure Ben and Brian both could correct me because I know Brian's a fan. I'm wanting to get into those. Maybe $200 range. But here's the thing. I have seen him. So I saw the show Ben did with him, where they were talking. And I have seen him in chat rooms, Ben's chats, like Ben's live streams. He's in the chat room participating. I've seen him on other channels participating. Here's a guy that's into the community. You know, and that makes me want to support that a little bit, you know, just because he's so hands-on. And I got to tell you, we got 3 people watching. Here we go. Ben, don't leave yet. I hope you didn't leave yet, because here's the rant. You had on a pedal builder. I can't remember his name.
I don't remember that. I remember you telling me a little bit about, like...
I don't remember his name. I know he's big. I know he's done, like, in the past, it did some big things, whatever. But Ben said, or somebody in the chat room said, it's amazing we have 2, you know, kind of...
renowned boutique pedal builders.
Yeah, pedal builders. And the guy was like, who's the other one? And somebody said, Lawrence Petros. And he said, oh, he's not there yet. And Lawrence was like, no, I'm not. Cool, whatever. You know, like, he was so, like... If here were the scales, the balance, right? And these guys were equal at that point in my mind, which I don't think they were at that point. Right. But if they were, Lawrence went way up in my estimation. The other guy just, like, I mean, I just felt like...
It's a little bit about maybe the opening question that Brian asked.
Right, ego versus...
a little bit of an ego.
Ego versus confidence. Because he should be confident in the pedals he builds and the stuff he's building. And he does. He has the pedigree to be confident. But the ego of that guy, like...
Well, it's kind of like...
I was so like ready to start typing, like... And then I was like, you know what? But that goes back to what we were saying about the guitar players. Right? If I have $200 to spend, am I going to spend it at Lawrence... After that live show that Ben did, am I going to spend it on Lawrence Petros? Or am I going to spend it on the guy that Ben was interviewing? Right. My money probably went into Lawrence because maybe I shouldn't be talking about it out loud.
You used to. Well, it's a little bit.
Brian
like,
said that ticked him off too.
So maybe Brian, your question has become the thread through this whole thing. But that would be the Josh Smith from JHS.
Right.
He doesn't.
He took a jab at him too.
Well, but I'm like, but you think about him. Here's a guy that's confident in his pedal building enough so that he talks more about other people's pedals than his own pedals because he's confident in what he's built and he knows it's a good pedal. And he understands that there were people that came before him that had these designs that he's tweaked and morphed and made better or different.
Or even people that have come after him. Because it's not all...
So that's another guy. So it does come back to the confidence. He's letting his work kind of speak for itself. Not that he doesn't talk about his pedals ever, but you go find out about the history of pedals. You go find out like, oh, this is like, you know, this is not so subtly about like a rat pedal. So right. Rats. But.
And he would get in... So the other rabbit holes, Jam Pedals builds a rat. It's called the Rattler. The Pedal Show just did a signature, like a special series of it. So it has like Dan in, Mick out, like labels. It has like the Pedal Show kind of paint job. They put it out. I don't know how many they made, but they sold them out before they released them. So before they ever got through Patreon out to like the normal people, they had sold those pedals out. It's exact same inside, exact same pedal, but the thing with Jam is, you know, their pedals are very, I'd say very expensive, but they're doing everything hand built. They're using new old stock parts. So their Rat pedal, if you go to the Rat pedals from the early Rat pedals, is at the 80s maybe, the chipsets that they were using then they're too expensive to mass produce because Rats are supposed to be kind of like a cheap overdrive or cheap distortion. Yeah. So what they're putting out now is using a different chipset. Jam Pedal's going back and using those original chips. So I would imagine this would be closer to modern day Rats than the old ones like Jam's using. But anyway, point.
Good.
I mean, the point would be. Back to Josh, like that's the kind of stuff he's like into and talking about. I don't know. Yeah, what?
So he was saying that Ben was saying he wasn't real super happy with the comment either, and I guess you could see it on his face. I mean, you just told me about it. I didn't watch it.
Yeah, Ben. I you say that, and I'm remembering back. Yeah, you could. Yeah, I feel like you had that moment of like, oh yeah, I don't know what to say to you now, but I'm gonna, like, yeah. And there was a couple other things that he said. I mean, he was really bashing. Like, I get it. There's guys out there that look up circuits online and they build pedals and they think they're pedal manufacturers and they're not doing anything new or creative or anything like that. On the other hand, there's guys out there that are doing cool stuff. Like, he took a dig at Josh Scott.
I said Smith earlier.
Josh Scott from JHS. He took a dig at him. And when he did it, it was so funny because I was actually, like, thinking, like, this guy has... I think I might actually type that. Like, his philosophy and Josh Scott's philosophy are totally different.
Right. Catch more flies with honey.
Yeah, because he was very, like, I'm in competition with everybody and I want to win. And I don't want to collaborate. But it seems to me like there's a lot... We're seeing a lot more collaboration in that world where people are starting to work together and stuff and building each other up. And
so, Ben, at the risk of me interviewing you on our YouTube Live, when did you start being involved with YouTube and why? Like, what was your reason? I said ours was just because we're just like, we should hang out. We should play. We should carve out time. Like, probably because when we were younger and had less responsibilities, you're hanging at a music store every Saturday and you're going to jams and you're doing different things, and then life gets busy and you don't do that. And so, I joke about it, but my wife was all for it. Like, I'm just like, I need something in life that's not a checkbox. Like, do this, do that, move on to the next thing.
But when you put this, like, okay, so we're going to hang out, we're going to play guitar and talk about gear, that's easy to walk away from. Oh, I got so much going on, I don't need to make that a priority right now. When you put the YouTube box over it, like, we need to have a video, which we need to have a video for Saturday, and I'm not sure we do. Then it becomes, okay, well, how do we make this, how do we fit this in and make sure it happens? And we're not always the best at it, but...
we'd be horrible at it if it weren't for him.
Well, I mean, we're started in January, and I think we've hit at least one video a week for every week since then.
At least, and most weeks, too.
Most weeks, too. So, yeah.
We're still working on some field trips. We have some local friends that we talk about it every time, and it's just a case of reaching out. But, Mrs. Beard just had her face restructured.
Oh, my gosh.
Mrs. PJ is in another state working for 3 months. So, again, it's real life gets in the way, but we have some local friends that are really interested to go see. Like, got a local friend that chimes in all the time. I've known him well before the YouTube channel, and I'm just going to say it. It might not be true. I think he's got like 13 Les Pauls. So we're going to go crack some cases and find out about it and hear some stories and
see what's in there.
Yep.
I would like to get down to the spot in Redland too. Redland.
That's funny, Ben, because I think they call it Irish twins when something started, like two people are born the same day, different years. I would say that aren't we he said of last year. We started January of this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and there really was a community aspect of this as well. It was about us hanging out together. But I think the bio on our YouTube channel hasn't changed since day one, like, is your significant other tired of hearing you about talk about gear? Well, come nerd away with us and talk about it. And the irony of it too, Ben, I don't know what your situation is, but it was really funny. Like, within weeks of starting this YouTube channel, Mrs. Beard caught on to the fact that the gear talk about guitars was quickly replaced by YouTube and analytics and cameras and lights. So she just got a new batch of
a new hobby.
Technical jargon she doesn't care about.
Yeah, there's some truth to that. But
so yeah, no, this was cool. Like I didn't know what to expect. We just knew we wanted to make sure that we got out here and got online, and we can always count on Brian when real life doesn't take him away to chime in and be a part of the conversation. And so,
yeah, Brian, we've actually, I appreciate you saying that, and I think we've seen that in some other comments from other people. So Man, we're fooling them.
We've had a couple friends that are just like, I wait around to the end just to hear what's said on the outros, because that's all legit. That's not like, oh, what clever thing are we going to say? It's like, it's literally, and then he just decides where we're going to cut it off in the editing. But it is because, like, honestly, this channel has made us a lot better friends for sure, without a doubt.
Right.
So it's cool.
Yeah, it's. I guess it's a way to like. Takes me back to like college days where you'd have a whole bunch of people bring acoustics over or something, or bring whatever gear they had, and you would have jams and hang out and talk. And so I don't think the conversation would probably be that much different if the camera wasn't on and it wasn't YouTube Live. I mean,
Right.
It might have went further down a few rabbit holes, but yeah.
Yeah, and it's and one thing that we also try to do too is, we're not trying to say something's right, something's wrong. We try to say this is how we use it. This is why sometimes we haven't gone down the Helix or the Kemper, just because honestly, for me, I view it as too complicated. Like other reasons too, but primary is like, you give me a pedal with his 3-knob rule, I can coax something out of that, but you give me something that's got patches and this and scrolling and you step, and I feel like in a live performance, if I step on something wrong, it's over. So it's not that I dislike it. We've had a good friend come on this show to demo a guitar and talk about his pedal board, and right after that, he bought like the Helix LT or something like that. It was just on a forum in Facebook today that said, what was your most like, not irrational, but like spontaneous purchase that now you can't live without, or that, and he put that on there. So again, we're not trying to say you have got to do love pedal and love pedal only. It's not that we don't have opinions about in-ears and not live amps. We got opinions about that. We haven't had those.
I feel like if I knew Etsy better, I would be disappointed in, like, I led him astray somewhere, or like he went astray somewhere.
Yeah, he came here and then he bought.
He came here and he was like right there. He's talking volume knob and drive pedals on.
Talking about being a sound guy on the other side of the equation.
No compression.
Live amps.
Yeah, live amps. And then he walks out the door, walks down the road, and buys a freaking Helix.
But anyway, part of just about that, it is try to be genuine, and we do give our opinions. It's not like we're going to let everything fly that we think about. We're not looking to be controversial, but we also don't need to bash somebody else to say what we like. That I can tell you what I like and not have to bash what somebody else likes.
Ben said the rabbit holes are what makes it real.
Yeah.
I'm good at rabbit holes. That's the secondary education teacher in me. I can go down a rabbit hole. Yeah.
I can't tell us. Me telling a story drives my wife crazy. So I create my own rabbit holes.
Right.
I am a she's a reader. You give her a book and she'll read it like that day. And I don't read. So I think because she reads, when she talks, she just wants short and to the point. I don't read, so when I'm talking, I'm painting a picture. Like, so.
Right. Because if you ask him what he had for breakfast today, he'd be like, well, I was born in 1970.
67.
Yeah. 67.
Oh, true. I was born at an early age.
In his town I was born in, they had
Fort
this.
Campbell, Kentucky. Thanks for asking.
And then we moved all over the United States.
Not that much because my dad was in the military. Yeah.
I never actually had Eggs Benedict, but then one time.
This is sad but true. This is an
2 hours later, we'll get to the.
Then I'd forget what the original question was.
And then he'd be like,
what'd you ask me?
Pancakes.
Sad but true. My friend calls those amen ouch moments.
All right. Well, I mean, what time is it?
I can't even see. It is. I actually have a watch on. It is 10:25.
10:25. Is that it?
It seems like we're rambling for. This is nice. Missed it.
For the size of the body, it definitely has a nice.
Well, it's that extra piece of glass in there.
Well, yeah. Helps. All right. Tune into one of his 6-hour streams. Man, my hat's off to you on a 6-hour stream. I don't know how you would
I would think after 6 hours and a few pints, we'd be talking about a different stream.
Yeah.
And how do you deal with that?
I don't know how you do that. 6 hours? First, there will never be a 6 hour stream on this show as long as these stools.
No, that's true.
40 minutes on these stools. 14 minutes on these stools.
So Brian's already bought a t-shirt. We decided that the first thing we're going to do with any proceeds from the t-shirts are get better stools.
Better stools. Right.
We started a GoFundMe page.
No.
It could be funded by PJ and the Beard's arses. Yeah, did you do that? Were you the nice guy?
What's that?
Sent
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we sent the sticker and the pics.
Yeah. Tone glass. Yes, that's true. We'll talk about where this glass was manufactured, where the glass was made, the type of tile floor it hit to create the pane in the glass. Tone glass, I like that.
Well, see, what happened was... This old blues player was playing slide on it. And a fight in the juke joint broke out, and a gun went off, and the gun bullet just clipped the top of his slide, which shattered into the hole.
But saved his life. It redirected the bullet.
Redirected the bullet up, ricocheted off the ceiling, and killed poor Lucille behind it.
But she had it coming. You know, Lucille, how she could do.
She'd survived the fire.
Yes, but not the glass.
What am I doing there? Yeah, sir. Because we could pick up an acoustic part of the guitar.
This will be the first time I've left the Beard Cave and my ears won't be ringing. Sans guitar amps.
So, Gary. Oh, man. Oh, Lord, I should cut you loose.
I don't know if Brian Robinson I have not heard of that, but I don't know if that's Brian Robinson's way, or Chris Robinson's way to try to propel himself into another universe.
Quartz crystal friends. So, maybe end with this. Gary Harrington, who's in the hospital, so send him your love. Every time we would get on stage together at the Blues Jam, we would do... No, that's not what we do. I wish I was a catfish swimming in the deep blue sea. I have all those pretty women fishing after me. Catfish blues, maybe. Is that what that's called?
I'm sure Brian will tell us in a minute.
So we would do that. But Gary's old guy, big long dreadlocks. Now, when I met him, they were little short, mini dreadlocks. You say slow to Gary, and he plays slow. And then he will hold people to it, like drummers. They're like, I mean, he's like, let's go. Right? And then he would always go into this, like, he had this thing. He has this thing. I shouldn't say.
Yeah.
Right. Has this thing. It's been a while since we played together, though. So where he...
Keep waiting for him to keep going.
Right? We're still going. Then you're backing up. And then he would like. So we'd have to do that. The guy comes over, shakes my hand. So I'm standing on stage. Amps roar, right? Shaking hands. Crowd pleaser stuff. I love that stuff. I love this. Anyway, so is that where we're at?
I think it is where we're at. You do that, it makes you wonder if the damsel's going to get off the tracks before the train comes.
That's everyone out. Cool. So I guess I need to shut it down.
I guess.
So, what do we got? Brian and Ben, I think that you're the only two that were talking to us tonight. Looks like there might have been a few other people watching at one point or another.
Lurking.
Before we shut it down, is there any way to give it a... Hey, 2 thumbs up. Thanks, guys. Wonder who that could have been.
Thing 1 and thing 2.
We appreciate it. And the third watcher out there, fourth watcher, third watcher.
It still could be Brody, because I don't know if he's taking the time to create an account.
It could be us, too.
We know it's not your missus. She's probably...
No, it is not her tonight. She is not joining tonight. Alright, so I think with that, we're out of here.
Maybe next week. We haven't talked about this yet. Hopefully next week.
Hopefully next week. Pat must be going away again.
I'll be in town, but I won't be able to make the tight timeline of